Today we're reviewing one of the most popular pistols ever, and somehow the first Glock we featured on the channel. This is the Glock 19X. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. If you couldn't tell from the intro, today we are reviewing the Glock 19X. And the Glock is, Glock in general, the most popular pistol in America, probably the world. So it's kind of amazing that we haven't had one really on the channel yet. So today is the day for those that are fans of the Glock. We've got the 19X, and it's a great pistol. Before we get started, just want to thank everyone that's subscribed to the channel. More subscriptions, the farther we get, the better we all do. So the Glock 19X is an interesting size. It has the barrel and slide of a Glock 19, meaning that it's a 4-inch barrel or a compact size pistol, but it's got the frame of a Glock 17, which is a full-size pistol, giving it some benefits. For one, having a full-size grip does make it easier to shoot, but for two, having the smaller slide actually makes it cycle faster. So the Glock 19X. This was Glock's submission to the military's new pistol program a few years back. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what you think, it lost to the SIG P320. But that doesn't make this any less of a great pistol. And so we're going to go over everything about it today. The interesting thing about the 19X is specifically its configuration, its size. So the Glock 19 is a compact with a 4-inch barrel, or like 4.01 inch, and a 15-round capacity, while the Glock 17 is a full size with a longer barrel and a 17-round full-size capacity. Well, the Glock 19X is kind of the best of both worlds, if you want to look at it that way. It's got the full-size grip and frame with the compact slide. So you get a 4-inch barrel, but you get the full capacity. And in fact, instead of just 17 rounds, these are actually 19-round magazines. So you get quite a bit of capacity here, but you get a fairly compact slide, which gives you a few benefits in itself. It runs a lot faster just because it's less reciprocating mass. And because of the full-size grip, it's just easier to control the gun. But let's take a look at it up close and see what makes the Glock 19X what it is. So the biggest thing that has made the Glock so popular, it's a very simple design. There's only a few parts that make it work, and it works well. It's one of the most reliable pistols on the market. So the biggest thing that makes the Glock such a popular platform is that it's just known to be extremely reliable. And it is, and that is mainly due to such a simple design. Let's take a look real quick at that. We'll break it down. So if you know how a Glock breaks down, you pull the slide back, pull these tabs, and pull your trigger, and your slide comes off. And then you have your dual captured recoil spring, your barrel, 4-inch barrel. This is your slide, striker safety plunger. And then when you look in the frame here, it's just a very simple system. And simple is reliable. There's less parts to go wrong, and it just plain works. So let's put it back together here. And so the 19X has some really great things about it. One of them being that it doesn't come with your standard, crappy plastic Glock U-notch sights. It actually has metal sights that are very high quality, and they're actually tritium night sights, which is a very nice upgrade. It also, obviously, we can't not talk about the color. It's got that peanut butter color. Obviously, it's a color that I'm a fan of if you take a look at my current build. But it's like that flat dark earth, whatever you call it. But it does look very nice. It's got an ambidextrous slide lock, slide release, and it is both on this Glock. It does come with 3 magazines. Generally, you get one 17-round and 2 19-round magazines with the extended base plates. What I have here in front of us today is just 3 of the 19 rounds. And it does have the dreaded Glock trigger. I know a lot of people don't really love a Glock trigger, and that's why there are so many aftermarket triggers made for the Glock. But let's take a look at this trigger because it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. So there is quite a bit of take-up, creep, and there's kind of a false wall and then a little bit of grit and kind of a rolling break. It's not a crisp trigger. And you see with the Glock that the trigger actually stays back until it is reset and then comes back forward. It does have the little dingus trigger safety, and you cannot, say if you try to pull the trigger from the side, you cannot pull the trigger without your finger being correctly on the trigger to depress that trigger safety. But the ergonomics of the Glock are very good, especially with this full-size grip. And the other thing people complain about with Glocks is this grip angle, being that it is not nearly as vertical as something like, say, an M&P. And I'll admit, I love the more vertical grip angle. It's what I generally prefer. But I went out and shot this all day today. Iron sights, Glock grip angle, and I did great with it. It was very easy to shoot accurately, and it was easy to shoot quickly. So I got to admit, I am a fan. A Glock is kind of a classic look. It is the pistol by which almost all other polymer framed striker-fired pistols are compared to these days. And there's a reason for that. It is the standard, and it just plain works. One of my favorite features about the 19X versus other Glocks is that you actually get decent sights with it. These are metal sights instead of the plastic U-notch that Glocks normally have. And they're Trijicon night sights, which is very nice. So the 2 things people complain about most often with Glocks are the grip angle and the trigger. But I haven't found either of those to be a problem for me. So obviously I've shot Glocks plenty before, but because I don't own one, I've never really put enough rounds downrange through a Glock to get a really good feel for it. And I gotta admit, I like it quite a bit. It is a good pistol. There's a reason that these are so popular. And I do believe that eventually I will be getting a Glock 19. Maybe this is the wrong attitude to have. I want to get one because I kind of want to customize it and Gucci it out like I have my M&P. But that also kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Glock, which is simplicity and ultimate reliability, which is definitely what you get out of a stock Glock. These things just run and run and run with minimal lubrication, minimal cleaning. They just work. Gaston Glock, when he designed the Glock 17, was their first pistol, which is what the lower on this is a Glock 17. Then he came out with the 19. And of course, if you know anything about the 18, is the fully automatic Glock. But he had a great design. And most of the modern polymer striker-fired pistols since have taken a lot from the Glock design. In fact, Smith & Wesson with their SD9VE actually got sued by Glock for having the design be so similar to Glock's patent. But it really is a great pistol. It, this 19X, it doesn't have forward slide serrations, but it doesn't seem to pose a problem. I can run it from the front or the back of the slide very easily. It has great sights. The trigger is definitely usable. It's not what I would call fantastic, but it's not bad by any means. And it's got a light rail on the front. Now, it's not a full Picatinny rail. This is specifically known as a Glock rail with this single slot here. But it does work. I tried some of my accessories on it, and it works great. With, pretty much the other thing about Glock is that every company that makes accessories, holsters, lights, whatever, they make it to fit the Glock because it's the most popular pistol. It has the most aftermarket support, and it's just, you can find magazines, you can find holsters, you can find anything you need for your Glock pistol at just about any gun store or any online firearm marketplace, which is in itself a great feature of the Glock pistol. The 19X, I think of the Glocks, this is a really good one. It is nice to have that full-size grip for sure. People talk about it being not quite as pointable as other pistols because of the grip angle that you actually have to kind of point down with your wrist. I didn't really find that to be an issue, and I didn't find the trigger to be an issue. In fact, I found this to be a very shootable, very just easy to use pistol, and one that I didn't have to worry about. I put a bunch of rounds through it today, not a single malfunction, as was expected. I don't expect to have problems with a Glock, and that's exactly why you should buy one and why I should probably buy one. I want to thank Kalen for loaning me this Glock. I really do appreciate it. He's loaned me a couple other guns for reviews in the past, including the CZ Shadow 2 and an AR-9 before I built my EPC-9. So Kalen, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Besides that, I want to thank all of you that are subscribed. Please, everyone, like, comment, share, and let's get to 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe. Next week, I've got the Canik TP9 Elite Combat. We're going to do a review of this pistol. Very different, but also kind of similar to the Glock. So you got to subscribe so that you can catch that video as well. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.